Okay, we're live. I think I got it right. Hello, Marvelous. How you doing, Marvelous? We love that name, Marvelous. For you old school cats, one of my favorite boxers growing up was Marvelous Marvin Hagler. So yes, we love that name, Marvelous, Marvelous. Hello, Marvelous, and thank you for being with us. Hey, you want to say hi to? You want to say hi, Tino? All right. See, where you going to get over here now? Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's a visitor. Yeah, man, we're gonna talk about some stuff. We want to go over some Fed knows, guys. You know that important meeting that we have been waiting for happened. So we were able to get some a little bit of action. So let's talk about the action. Hold on one second, you all. No, 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 no. That's mommy's. Yeah, let me see that, buddy. Yeah, that's mommy's. Yeah, that's mommy's. You can't play with that. Okay. No, not you can't play with that. You have to ask her. Boom, BK Crypto in the room. How's everything out there in Brooklyn? Guess what's stepped in the room? Tikal. Yeah, how's it out there in Brooklyn, man? Who, BK Crypto? Um, yeah, he's a young guy, man. He's a handful. He's drawing something. I don't know. He's making something. Oh, thank you, sir. I've been following the regimen that my wife has put me on. She's got me juicing. She wants me because I lost a lot of weight. She wants me to gain some weight back. I'm not. I don't know. I'm cool, man. I'm at 20 whatever 23% of my BMI. So I'm trying to stay right there in that zone. But I am eating a little more for her. Mostly, the hospital told me fresh greens and stuff like that. So we've been eating a lot of salads, greens, mixed vegetables, things like that. I since the chicken got me sick, man, I can't do chicken anymore. I can't, man. It almost killed me. So I just been eating fish, and yeah, she got me juicing. She got me drinking healthy juices that she puts together, like the mixture that she uses, if I remember correctly, is green apples, 7 green apples, a thing I don't know what you call it, a thing of cucumber, um, a peeled cucumber. I said a thing of cucumber, a thing of celery, a peeled cucumber, and she puts a little bit of mango in there and some white grapes for flavoring. So that's the drink that I use. It's a green drink. She tried putting spinach in it, but it was a little bit bitter. Spinach and cayenne pepper, man. You gotta be careful with that cayenne pepper, boy. It'll about blow me away. Here she goes. She's ready. I'm not ready. Give me She's 20 seconds. She's close to ready. So yeah, I've been drinking that good juice and a lot of water. I also have to be careful on my water intake as for fluid restrictions. So, it's been a journey, but I'm following the doctor's orders. Yeah, following the doctor's orders, not being what did she call me? A difficult patient. She called me a difficult. Only a difficult patient with me. She called me a difficult patient when I was in the hospital because they were trying to do things to me that I wasn't crazy about. But and then tell them you made me do it. Nah, man, I ain't make you do no. Yeah, they was trying to do things, man. I wasn't feeling them. And to be honest, people, I didn't really talk about this, but I wasn't crazy about getting another person's blood. Like the whole thought of it kind of creeps me out. I've never got blood before. I've given blood many times, but I've never gotten any blood, and I never thought that I would ever have to receive any blood. So I wasn't crazy about getting another person's blood, but you gotta get over your fears sometime. It's, and this is true. So we are here. We're ready. Mm-hmm. She is here.
So, got some good news, right? Simon Family Investment Ventures. We here. We made it. Started at the bottom. Now we're here. We do have a sponsor.
Sponsors? I ain't getting no
yes,
money.
We do
I didn't get any
sponsor.
Money.
Today's show is brought to you by Negro Cafe. Every day for you to get that nigga wake up call. All right, now there we go. It's cafe soluble, 100% pure.
All you do is
We went to the supermarket this morning and I was like, I couldn't help but see it. I went to get some coffee creamer and I was like, does that say Negro coffee? It's like, yeah.
cafe.
For that nigga wake up call. We be getting it every single day. So I don't know.
It's crazy.
We gonna start the show off with those Negro wake up calls.
Yeah,
and
man.
Look, right? I told you it's Negro Cafe. Why the coffee got headphones on, y'all?
Hey man, they got to market to the.
Who they marketing to?
They got to market. Y'all.
It's Mexico. Who is y'all marketing this to? Why is the coffee wearing Beats? They're not Beats.
You bought it. They was talking to you.
Nah. And it's for Mexicans. It's crazy. It's here in Mexico. It's not even Colombian coffee.
They market to young kids.
But y'all, why? Tell us why.
I'm not gonna lie. Everybody does walk around with headphones on.
Por favor. ¿Por qué?
Or arbitrage. What's that mean? Very funny. Or arbitrage.
Or arbitrage? What?
Oh, I messed it up at the beginning. I'm sorry. So you'll see.
This is why I do the intro, y'all.
Yeah. This thing right here, I messed up. I'll show you real quick. Not this.
But yeah, we about to mess something else up.
This. I messed this up. So I just had us streaming on our YouTube page, and I had to go back and turn it on this page like this. I'd like edit channels.
Oh, is that what you was asking about the bridge?
Yeah, I didn't know. I said, so I'm not going to add anybody else, but.
There should be a third. Oh, Facebook. You're not streaming on Facebook. So hold on, y'all. This baby done messed everything up.
My bad.
Right? It's not like he don't sit here with me 200 shows, y'all.
So
All right. So now the bridge is working, but you did ask about the bridge.
So now we got everybody in the house. Everybody's in the
Juan Valdez is Colombian.
He was.
Cousin Dylan. He Colombian. This is Mexican coffee, so I want to know who they advertising to with headphones on the back, Negro on the front.
They drink coffee in Mexico, though.
I want to know.
They drink coffee. So, all right. I don't know. It's enough people because I think we have to go pick our boys up from basketball. So
all right.
We're trying to stay time sensitive.
Marvelous want to know if we're going to be talking about crypto right now or not.
Yeah, I'm going right in.
We're going to go right into the crypto.
Yeah, let me go right in.
So we made you wait.
Yeah, thank you, Marvelous. Well, let's go right in. So the big story of the weekend is the Federal Reserve meeting that they hold annually out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. She talked about in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So what we have here is, Aaron, we're going to bring up this first one this is from Bangkok. So we're getting some, listen, when you're up in the middle of the night, the other side of the world is open. So I got this article in the middle of the night from Bangkok. But it's Bangkok Post, which is a very reputable publication. I went and checked on it. So what we have is the title of this: Bitcoin flirts with 65,000 on Powell, Jerome Powell's pivot streak of ETF inflows. So we could talk about that. Bitcoin, did you want me to read it or you have to share? She's going to share it and I'm
sharing
going to read it.
You want me to read it?
I'll read a little bit of it until it gets too blurry. All right, Bitcoin touched 65,000 for the first time in about 3 weeks, aided by the reviving demand for U.S. exchange traded funds amid signs that Federal Reserve is set to loosen monetary policy. All right, so that's a big thing. So we had Jerome Powell speak at this. He's like the keynote speaker at this meeting out in Jackson Hole. The largest digital asset rose 1.2% to 65,030 on Monday. So when they say Monday, it was actually Sunday for us, but it was Monday in Bangkok. Monday before dipping back to 64,000 as of 1:35 Bangkok time in Singapore. Mm-hmm. Okay, the cryptocurrency advanced 7.4% last week, the sharpest increase for such a period since mid-July. So that's for a weekly, that's a very sharp increase, 7.4%, especially if we were sitting patiently, with our stack, right? Mm-hmm. Be stacking. So nice increase for your stack. Powell, who signaled it spurred a $252 million net flow. The highest in more than a month. into a group of 1 dozen U.S. spot ETFs the same day. Data is compiled by Bloomberg. The funds have attracted inflows for 7 straight days. All eyes are on the Fed, right? So they are looking at the Fed. The Fed is talking about cutting rates, and they said that the time is to loosen policy and cut rates. So I'll see like this. Unlike the Bitcoin portfolios, a group of U.S. spot Ether ETFs suffered a net outflow on August 23rd. Ether was on back foot on Monday, dropping as much as 1.7%. Other major tokens were a little changed. So I just read that to let you know
that the
Bitcoin
Fed cut
yeah.
is going to
So
give Bitcoin a boost, especially here in September. For those of you who kind of missed it, it says adding that a September rate cut may boost Bitcoin. So here we are on the tail end of August. Dog days of summer have ended. People are back to school, back to work.
back to work. Right. If you guys remember, I mean, they speed everything up and time, right? And we're going to talk about that later. They speed everything up because you guys remember when we were growing up, the end of summer was the first day after Labor Day. That Tuesday after Labor Day, man, summer was over. They closed the city pools, right? Or your local pool at the recreation center.
Couldn't wear white anymore.
That's what they tell me. Put your white J's away, put your white Air Force Ones away, and boom, back to school, and back to our normal policy. Because if you watch the numbers, as far as the stock market and even in crypto, the numbers slow down during the summer, dog days of summer. So on Monday in Singapore, Bitcoin touched 65,000. As for that was Sunday afternoon for us. I didn't check the price as of the start of this show. I'm sorry. It was last time I looked, it was 63.9. Um, so we're right there. We're right within a percentage or so of hitting 65. So
It's 62.
62.9, rated 63, a little bit of a downtrend for the day. If we look at this chart real quick, look at the quick line chart. Let's look at the 5-day chart. 5-day chart might be more positive. So look at that 5-day chart. So you go right here.
Activity.
So right on August 23rd, everybody's preparing for the Fed meeting. And after he mentioned rate cuts, right? For the first time since March 2022. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Boom, you see that sharp rise right there.
From March 22nd or from 2022?
March of 2022.
Wow, since March of 2022.
So, I mean, like I said, it's a line chart, but
you can see.
I can see that might be a bull flag.
Yeah.
That might be a bull flag right there.
Right there.
And I would need a better chart. And then you can see the consistency, a little spike here, a little downflow here. I would have to look at the numbers to see, and the inflow, outflow. You can go over and look at SOPR. We always talk about SOPR, spent output profit ratio. This was SOPR, SOPR, spent output profit ratio. You can see that on glassnode.com. Now, I'll give you a warning. The charts are very difficult to read. They're hard to understand because it's just like chart overlay over chart overlay, different colors. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on at once at Glassnode. So you got to sit down and like look at it for a while before you get some kind of understanding. We always talk about our good friend Will Clemente. If you check him out on Twitter, he does a SOPR breakdown about once a week. He's really great at it. He's a young college kid out of North Carolina, I believe. Young guy, man. And he gives a great breakdown. So that's good. That's good. And we see, so there's a popular Bitcoin analyst on social media, Twitter, TikTok, and whatnot. And he spoke of some of his Bitcoin predictions. And he was looking at some macro predictions and some of the chart indicators. So for him, 62,000 was a key level of resistance. So Bitcoin has broken that 62,000. And so when we want to see if 62,000 can hold as support. So it'll be interesting. You see that little drop right there. And that's why sometimes I get up in the middle of the night. I used to stay up all night when I was a little bit younger. But I get up in the middle of the night and I'll check the price, what's going on over in Tokyo, Singapore, where else? China, just to see what kind of action they have at night. Because you ever go to sleep and the price is way different in the morning. That's because they got action. They got they can move the market. They can definitely move the market. So everything over there. Did you want to comment on anybody?
Yeah, cousin Jake. Shout out to cousin Jake. Did you taste the Maestro Doble?
Oh yeah, shout out. We seen you on Twitter when Maestro Doble was looking crispy.
I didn't know. Did you taste it yet, or is it just for decoration? Let us know your experience with that. Let Freedom Ring. I want to welcome. And cousin Jake made a really good observation right here.
Okay.
He said this is the last year for Bitcoin influencers. Everyone will be talking altcoins because all non-multimillionaires will be priced out. So like almost like he's saying, like, we've been telling y'all, been telling y'all, been telling y'all, been telling y'all, been telling y'all. And it's gonna get to the point where it starts to run again, right? And Muzz is gonna be like uber priced out because their new positioning is gonna be so high.
Yeah, and they don't understand that they're not late. Like if you buy it at 63 right now, you're like, oh, this is high. You know, you're not late because if you look at it 1 year from now, it's going to be like, 400,000.
Right, but he's saying it's gonna get to running to where it will be too high. You will be kind of priced out of it, and then everybody's gonna be assuming, right? Because your non-coiners don't know anything about the difference between Bitcoin, altcoins. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
they'll be priced out and too scared to buy it. It starts running. People are scared to buy it. Some people get caught up in the FUD, and they're like, "Oh no, should I buy? Should I buy? Wait." And so yeah, you're right. And
but what he's also saying is going to be a very true sentiment, right? And then most are going to be trying to get into something, thinking it's the same thing.
It's the next thing,
and it's not the same thing or the next thing. It doesn't have the same characteristics. It's not in the same asset class. It's not the same thing.
And then we'll have to do our last show.
And I think a lot of people are going to lose money.
Yeah, they are. They're going to lose money when they could have made money.
Right. They're going to get scammed. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild, but that's a really good observation, Jake. He haven't reviewed it yet.
Okay. So you're gonna do a live review on Twitter? Okay, man. I gotta figure out this Twitter. I'm gonna set up some alerts so I know what's happening.
I don't have because it's just too many notifications.
It's a lot of alerts on my phone. It's crazy.
Yes, but we'll set up the Twitter alert because I do want to catch the review, Jake.
I want to be live on there so I can talk to you.
I lost her.
So I'm gonna stick with the same point because this article has some very good technical things in it, and I just want to go over the technical part of the article. It says kind of the same thing. So this is from a publication or a website called atalayar.com. Atalayar.com.
I get that, but what is it?
I'm sorry. It's a little bit of the same, but it's got a little bit more intricate things about it.
Which one is this?
Atalar.com. It was, I think, the last one we pulled up, yeah.
But you're not going in the order you gave it to me.
Nah, I'm trying to go as far as it then because we'll move to that. All right.
Well, wait, because
It's what?
It's not right now. Federal Reserve. Okay. It was out of order from the way you had it.
Okay, here we go. So one more, we're going to just hammer this point home. So Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announces that the time has come to lower interest rates. So this is what I was talking about. So this is the annual meeting of central bankers in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, USA. It sets the guidelines for global monetary policy. So just that lets you know how important this meeting was and how everybody was sitting on it. I didn't overlay that chart, but if you took some more important charts, if you took like the precious metal charts, if you took some of the higher tech charts like NVIDIA, because they're outlook kind of sets the tone for tech. You can see that sharp raise right there as Chairman Powell gave his speech. So let's go into his speech and see what he had to say. So for yet another year, the governors of the world's leading central banks have gathered in the paradisical town of Jackson Hole in the state of Wyoming at the foot of Grand Teton National Park. It's a very beautiful place, by the way. This meeting, which has been organized annually by the Kansas City Federal Reserve Bank since 1982, brings together, in addition to the representatives of central banks led by the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, economists, experts, and specialized press. So his speech. So what did Jerome Powell say in his speech that is so important? So as of every year, the highlight is undoubtedly the speech by the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who is taking part in this forum for the seventh straight time. So for all my old school people, you guys remember before him, it was Janet Yellen. And it was brutal then, it's brutal now. His speech was most eagerly awaited as he expected to confirm the change of upward trend of central bank's monetary policy from 2022. And Powell did not disappoint analysts. In his speech, he noted that the economy continues to grow at a solid pace, but data on inflation and labor markets show an evolving situation. So the upside risks of inflation have diminished and downside risks to employment have increased. So one thing that they always say is inflation can be good for the economy. And I guess it can be, but not the way that it has been used against the public, as we see some of the inflation and some of the problems we're having around the U.S. is sharp rises in prices, right? A diagnosis that has led to expected announcement. The time has come, and I quote from Jerome Powell, the time has come to tight monetary policy. The direction is clear, and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on new data, the evolution of the outlook of the balance of risk. So now, so what they're doing here, and they do it every year. And so people understand this. You see what he did is he said the time has come for rate cuts. That's what he said at a very important meeting with the world's central bankers there. But what he didn't say is how much would the rate cut be? Because that's what we really need to know. So what he does is he builds in for people who are traders and investors, he builds in the factor of rate cuts, but he leaves out there in question what the rate cut will actually be so that he can announce that at a later speech, I believe, maybe after the election.
In order to prop up the economy for the election.
There we go. You see how this goes. And even in years there isn't an election, they still do that, right? They give you the speech. We're all sitting on our hands, seeing what it is, and it says rate cuts will go up or down. Even when they raised rates back in 2022, I remember watching that. He said the time was to raise rates to do the exact opposite, increase the economy, and he said that employment was in a good place. And when everybody's like, but everybody's unemployed.
Right.
So we were like that, but he never said how much they were going to raise the rates. And he waited to another speech 3 months down the line to say the actual, when he could have just said it right there.
Right then,
right then and right there. You think he don't know how much he's going to raise rates as he gave this speech?
Yeah.
He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
He knows, but what happens is people don't get tricked because this will bake in the price for rate raises. So when you try to make some kind of trade or investment based on what the rate cut will be, it's already been baked in, and you might not see the price movement that you thought you would. And this is the games they play, man. And this is how they try to get people, small investors and stuff, man. It's a game. Did you have anything to say or want to say? I'm going to read a little bit more. It's getting technical. You tell me when it gets boring, and we'll move on to what it is that you want. Did you want to read it? Or you want me to keep reading? Okay, so the decision to begin cut rates is motivated by recent deterioration in U.S. Economic data, in particular the pickup in inflation and worsening labor market. So these are the two things that they bring to you. In Powell's words, We will do all we can to support a strong labor market as we continue to make progress towards price stability. With appropriate monetary policy accommodation, there is good reason to believe the economy will return to 2% inflation while maintaining the strength of labor market. The current level of our policy rate gives us ample room to respond to any risks we may face, including the risk of further unwelcome weakening in labor market conditions. So, as you can see, the labor market is big in the economy. So that's why that jobs report every week is important. You'll see it early in the morning before the market open. Jobs report. Man, if you want to know about jobs report, what I do is go on cnbcu.com and you put your alerts on, and they'll tell you about all kind of things that go on with the stock market, and it'll just alert to your phone early in the morning, and it'll give you jobs report. It'll give you the other report. What's the GDP report? So it gives you these reports and just things to keep an eye out. So it should be recalled that the Fed began raising interest rates in March of 2022, which we spoke of, from a lower level close to zero. So if you guys remember, interest rates are pretty close to zero. And then what he said is it's time to raise the rates, right? Which had been adopted to deal with economic crisis caused by the pandemic. So they lowered them towards zero because of the pandemic situation and what it did to the economy. Once they felt like the economy had bounced back enough, they decided, okay, it's okay to raise rates. Okay. At present, the Federal Reserve rates are between 5.25 and 5.5. Level that has been maintained for that time period since March of 2020. Just so you know who was there, attendees, I would say, of this place: Jeffrey Schmidt, President and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. The European Central Bank was represented by Philip Lane. Also attended Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, which has been the first Western central bank to start lowering interest rates by 0.25 to zero point 0.5 basis points. So they kind of, if you guys kept up with the news, they kind of signaled, right? You see right there, they said Western banks. It's the first Western bank to lower rates, kind of giving a signal that, okay,
y'all need to lower y'all too.
And so it was coming. We kind of knew it, and that's it. Let me roll down. This is the importance of Jackson Hole. So, boom, boom, boom. Let me read real quick. I'm sorry. I read so many articles. I'm trying to remember which one. Okay. Yeah. So that was mostly what we needed to know from that article. But it's a very important meeting. And you've seen the sharp spike up. So now we're just wait. Now September, we're pushing into the fourth quarter, guys. So and we'll see what happens. Is it anything you want to say?
Cousin Jake want to know what your plans are for the 200th episode.
I've been thinking about it. I didn't know, man. I didn't know for the 200th episode. We're getting close. I thought, man, I got a couple episodes left before I have to nail something down.
I have an idea that I thought you guys would enjoy. I just need to kind of map out the logistics of it to see if it's something that we...
Yeah, and for that, Cousin Jake, man.
They adjusted the jobs by almost 1 million.
See?
You can tell that they wanted to print.
I had that in one of the articles about the numbers of the jobs. And see, right there. Just adjusting the jobs by 1 million now. It's time.
To print money?
It's time, yes indeed.
It's always time to print money.
And Cousin Jake, man.
When is it not time to print money?
I had, we talk about goals and stuff. If you remember our 100th show, it was right before January 1st.
Okay.
So in the goals, we had put, we want to get to 200 shows by the end of the year. So we're tracking, and we're going to hit that goal. One of the things that you could just tick off in your goal book, like, yeah, we'll get there way before the end of the year. And also just to put something out there, Cousin Jake, and everybody who's listening, after we hit the 200 show, Aaron and I were looking to do a little thing, retool the show a little bit, give you a little flair, a little upgrade. And we're going to try to take some new stuff into 2025. So we got some new things coming. We got some upgraded technologies we're trying to pop off. And we're going to do some different things, than just sitting here and talking. It's good to sit here and talk some days, but some days we're going to do some different things and, and try some different experiences and see how people like it. So that's what we're trying to do for 2025. Be ready. Look out for that. It'll be a little different. It should be fun. And
we'll try new shows.
Yeah, we're gonna try some new shows. So anything in you say in the comments?
Nope, just that.
Okay, I'm gonna go over one more thing, and then we're gonna get to Aaron's theme of the show. Bitcoin price is dip is gone by September, ? 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. So this is going to be on Cointelegraph.com. One of our favorite publications. We use Cointelegraph a lot. It's very reliable. And the article is really good. Bitcoin faces a crunch candle. So we're going to talk about some other things as far as technical analysis real quick. Bitcoin faces a crunch candle close this week as Bitcoin rebound battles sellers to cancel its early August collapse. So what is important about this article? The importance of this article is that a monthly close of Bitcoin. So that's always important, a monthly close. And we want to look at the candle on the monthly chart, okay, when we're looking at this. And so it's like he said, it's a crunch because it wants to look the close, I believe, over 65. But let's read. Bitcoin heads into August monthly close with a welcome recovery as Bitcoin price action targets 65,000. So that's what they would like to close over. The largest cryptocurrency has delivered a remarkable show of strength over the past week, and traders hope the good times will continue. Okay, so we've been sideways weekend aside. Bitcoin price is 63,000 right now, and cementing its gains and its now up an impressive 40% from this month's lows of 45,500. So you guys remember earlier this month we touched down to 45. Everybody was panicking. The people with lettuce hands were selling, right? We said on the show, you got to go back and check the tapes. We said, if you got some dry powder, some money on the side, this is a good buying opportunity. But we gave you we're not financial advisors, but we said, hey, a beautiful looking buying opportunity while everybody was screaming doom and gloom, saying Bitcoin could go to 24,000, Bitcoin back to 16 and all the retest of 16, a lot of stuff people were saying. Thus, the upcoming monthly candle close should provide an interesting trading environment as anticipation grows over a breakout from nearly half a year long consolidation phase.
Where am I?
So yes, we have been sitting around here 5-6 months as it's traded sideways, right? But that's what it does. And so now we're looking for the breakout. Can Bitcoin finally re-tackle all-time highs? Month to date data, Bitcoin USD is now almost back at its starting position, but plenty of volatility catalysts wait. So macroeconomic data will come thick and fast toward the end of the week, presenting a fresh test of nerve for increasingly risk-averse Bitcoin short-term holders. What does that mean? That means people who are trading Bitcoin, holding real quick, going to be a little nervous this week because you're looking one more time, another Friday, your second Friday in a row, I should say, you're looking for some information that gives volatility to the market. A lot of short-term traders like to trade on that volatility. But when you guess wrong or you're positioned wrong and it doesn't go the way you thought, you see a lot of people lose money unnecessarily when sometimes the long-term outlook smooths out volatility. And if it doesn't go the way you want and you still have a long-term outlook, you just sit in your position and you're not forced to liquidate your position, especially people trading with leverage. Fundamentals, meanwhile, look good with the mining difficulty due a modest uptick in the coming days. All right, sentiment is back in neutral territory, with average crypto investor leaving their cold feet behind with impressive speed. All right. Cointelegraph takes a closer look at the state of play on Bitcoin ahead of the key week for cryptocurrency that was battling calls for a fresh bear market just a fortnight ago, which is 2 weeks, I believe. See, it's trying to be cute there. So Bitcoin monthly close is in the spotlight. Bitcoin is firmly bouncing back after harrowing start to August, but traders' attention is now on the monthly close. Such events, we got a chart right there. It's a very, very tight chart. I'll talk about it here real quick. Such events constitute volatility triggers on their own, and while up 40% versus the month's low, Bitcoin price action has much to contend with. And then there's some traders that are preferred people they speak to on Cointelegraph. I can't co-sign them. I've never checked them all the way out, so I'll just pass by some of their analysis. You can read on it if you want to see what they have to say. But if you are one of these people who does technical analysis and you look over here, you can look at the order book liquidity, and insights nonetheless show formidable resistance lingering overhead, with spot BTC price separates from all-time highs by a wall of ask. So if you want to look at, you can kind of see the orders that are put in front of you and the liquidity that it has, right? And if you want to see where you want to put your order in, or like they say, there's a wall of ask up. So now you know that there's tough resistance right there just by looking at the liquidity of the order book. So what else do we have? As further post knowledge, so Bitcoin has been close to 6 months of consolidation. Yes. Oh, let me look at that chart real quick. I said I would. My bad. So what do we got? What kind of chart is this? Oh my goodness. What time frame is this? Dang, this thing is small. Pause. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. I just want to see the time.
I don't know how to get rid of this.
I don't know what time frame we're using. Guess we're using. This is like a daily chart. Okay. All right. So you see the daily chart. 1 hour chart. I'm sorry. Dang, I can't read in front of my face. So what you see is right at noon, right after midnight. Headed into the 24th, you see that candle right there. Right. Boom, that's the candle we love to see. Boom, and then it walked up.
Oh, y'all, it won't let me like.
Oh, what's up?
There we go. But it won't let me touch it.
Oh, okay. And so you see that candle, boom, boom, boom. Definitely a pennant right there. Some people call it a bull flag pennant, and then you see it kept working off the pennant. Some people were.
Hopefully,
worried.
Y'all can see my cursor.
Some of these people are worried about some other patterns, but look at that. So let me see one more time on that. I just want to see where the monthly close and how close it is. So
it's a 1 hour chart.
1 hour chart. So we can't get all the way out to 30 to the last day of August, but what you see is I'm just looking at it on 1 hour chart. All right, so nothing much to see at the tail end of the chart, but this is what you like to see. This was ugly. It's like we don't like to see that candle, but it gives buying opportunity when you see a candle like that. If you could grab it, nobody can time the market, but if you're ready, you just grab it right here. You see it walked right back up. So some of our more advanced traders can catch stuff like that. I don't recommend people trying to catch stuff like that. I recommend dollar cost averaging and low tide preference. Mm-hmm. What do you recommend, ma'am? Same thing. Okay, yeah, I don't recommend people trying to catch that bullshit. We've all tried to catch that for years, man. It gets tiring, man. Keeps you up all night. All right, some other charts on here. Let me see how pertinent they are.
But Summer, remember, you not controlling the chart on your phone.
I don't know if this stuff's even pertinent. I was going to look it over first before we even bring it up.
Okay.
Just in case. This chart is decent right here. The one right above this one. So this is a nice chart here. Just so see, this would be a low time preference zoom out chart. So you kind of see a progression since Bitcoin started. So you see all-time high in 2013, and then look, you see that work, them candles. You remember the good times in 2013, and we were riding up 2017. We thought we thought we made it right here, right? Hit 20,000, and then we was all ready to like. I was even questioning Bitcoin right here, but and then it rose back up. It drove. This was like the dip at COVID right here, the pandemic. This looks like the pandemic dip because it was a sharp rebound afterwards. Then we hit it. No, that can't be. That's 2017. Then we hit a 2017 all-time high. And then boom, boom, boom. We hit some all-time highs. And then we hit an all-time high in 2021. And so as the cycle continues, we're pushing for a new 2024 all-time high. And you can kind of see how there is continued. It's not the same chart, but what you're noticing is hits an all-time high. You see it pretty much dips pretty low, and then it walks back up to an all-time high, dips low, walks back to an all-time high, right? Dips low again, walks back to an all-time high. So the pattern remains over the past 9 years. Is there anything you want me to go over? We got rid of all the boring stuff, guys. That's the last chart I'm gonna go over. This other chart, man, it's kind of messy, so I'm not gonna bother with it. It's kind of messy, and this one is hard to. These two are hard to really see because you can't see the smaller numbers at the bottom. But if you go to this article, you can see stuff about the hash rate raw data. So that's a very, now you're talking about something real technical that.
Where are you on the article?
Just down this right here. So right there, you're talking about hash rate raw data. So that's even a tough chart for me I can't read it. And I would have to sit and look at it for a while to see what they're actually saying. That might be for like our experienced people if they want to look at that. And you have a chart on network fundamentals and the overview of that. So for our technical people, you have network overview fundamentals. So that's for our techies. That might help you. For me, I'm not so much of a techie, so it's a little. I mean, I can see, but it's a little. It's a chart. It's an indicator I wouldn't use for myself personally because I'm not into tech like that. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to get the boring stuff out the way. Pretty much. What's wrong? Huh?
My stomach.
Oh, okay. Whenever. So we got that out the way. Let's look and see if anybody had anything to say or any comments, questions. Yeah, that's the one thing. Bitcoin can be boring at times. So yeah, look at this stuff.
I do want to welcome Dearbit.
Hey, what's up, Dearbit?
She said thank you for the explanation on the interest rate.
Oh yeah, interest rate is very important, and yeah, they try to sneak it in, man. They wasn't writing a whole bunch of news about it towards the last 2 days.
Jake trolling. He said if you have 100,000 in the market with the 60% Bitcoin and 40% alts, you can become a millionaire in the cycle easy, but not with XRP.
Oh,
trolling.
Why? Because it's still going to be 59 cents. Yeah, it's been a tough go for XRP. Yeah, this market is looking is looking exciting, man. And I don't know the people in the chat or the people watching if they're new Bitcoiners, the old Bitcoiners been through this, but if this is your first, it's exciting, man. It can get a little scary, but don't let it shake you out your position. It could get scary. I just showed you that chart. It got real scary on different occasions, so we got to be strong and hold our positions.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm done with the boring stuff. So you want to get into your theme and just drop some knowledge on them? Or?
So we haven't done the productivity thing for a while, and we're not always necessarily sure who we're talking to audience wise, but everybody has children, nieces, nephews, cousins. They coach. They have the influence of younger people. And one thing where we differ from our community counterparts is that our community counterparts have a comprehensive understanding on how the things of the world work, right? They teach them from young. People like legacy people like Donald Trump, who's generation after generation after generation of wealth. Families like that teach their children from young, right? They're almost born right into all of the things you need to know to maintain this family legacy wealth. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of these legacy families hold on to their wealth generation after generation after generation, in spite of the statistics that tell you that wealth is easily lost in one generation.
That's what it said.
So with that being said, one of the things one of the concepts we are raising our sons to understand, that many of you may be seeing with your eye now, you may be witnessing, unfortunately, some of you guys may be experiencing, is that, but let me take you on a history trip so that you can understand where I'm going. So when the dollar was on the golden standard, right? When 100% of the dollars accounted to 100% of the gold, what gold's job was to account for every single dollar in supply, right? That was what you would call a monetary check and balance, and it was there for a reason. Again, I always tell you guys the story. During the era of Reconstruction, when the slaves were emancipated, all of the skilled workers were slaves. So when they were emancipated, even though they were hired at probably meager wages, in order to do the work they were doing for free at one point.
That's a kick.
They were still able to turn a profit by saving, right? That back then it was like, we need to save for a cart. If I'm a mason, I need to save for a cart. I need to save for this. I need to save for that. And it was very profitable for them to save, because at that time, again, gold's job was to account for every single dollar in supply. That was when the standard was at 100%. It's also the reason why you had your Black Wall Streets and stuff like that through the time, why Blacks were able to have the wealth they had, because the monetary policy was very different and there was a lot more accounting and check and balance. Now, again, we're moving along the time. They decided to take gold. Say it right with me. They decided to take a percentage of gold, right, to leave a percentage of it on the standard, right, and take a percentage of it off.
And what else did they do? They
what?
Took people's gold.
They made them turn it in.
Turn it in, and so that was so they can have more gold, and the public didn't have gold.
Yeah, so let's start there, right? So they took the gold off the standard, which is now, in a sense, manipulating the books, right? Because if you're doing the math and the percentage, and your average person couldn't do the math like that, well, how much money do we have in supply and what's being accounted for? Then they started the campaign of incentivizing people or coaxing them or utilizing propaganda to get them to turn in the gold that they had, because they were already working to that maneuver of cooking the books, in a sense, and manipulating the data, because they understood that gold will account for every single dollar. So now we have to manipulate the numbers and the percentages of it, and let's get as much gold as we can so we can share the data we want to share. And people really couldn't keep up with it or to check themselves.
Yeah, and so essentially the beginning kind of fractional reserves type of dealings, because you're keeping a fraction of the percentage, and and like she said, it still was on the gold standard technically.
Partially.
So you can still say that.
So then we fast forward again, and
I think this is the end of 100% gold standard. You could take your greenback, if what they call it, and turn it in for gold at the bank, like 1 for 1. Once it got on that partial after the Federal Reserve Act, you could no longer do that. And so then your dollar was worth whatever percentage of gold it was. I can't remember the percentage, but it's low in 2025. But you couldn't turn your dollar in for a 25-cent worth of gold. And so
understanding that they didn't want the gold accounting for the dollars, it was a way to get more dollars in supply.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fast forward, 100%. Now the dollar's just a dollar. And then even worse, we have other currencies tethered to the dollar, which isn't tethered to anything at all, right? Which is the world that you understand and the world that you know. They separated the masses from access to gold, which is your rightful, I don't want to say inheritance, but which is your rightful access as far as citizens.
Go ahead.
Who, Lyndon B. Johnson?
No, who said that gold is your rightful access? You tell me.
I said that.
Who said that?
Who said that?
It's in that book right there.
Oh, God. I thought you thought I was quoting somebody. No, yeah, I was like, no, I just said that. It's your rightful access, right? But he's right? So in a sense, that was God's standard, right? When you read the Bible, he talks about talents and shekels and gold and this and that. And if God is utilizing this measure of monetary policy, why are we using paper? Anyway.
Cats is trading salt.
I bring all of that up because, like I said, legacies, families, and you often hear time is money. Time is money. Time is money. But when you get down to communities like ours who weren't properly raised, we weren't properly trained, we weren't properly educated, knowledge was kept from us as a tool of oppression, we often lose certain concepts. Therefore, we cannot implement them into our self-discipline regimens. We can't implement them into nation building, which is women raising their children, fathers raising their sons, mothers raising their daughters, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin 2.0, right? It's gold 2.0.
What they say
is...
Don't tell Andy Shackman that.
So heavily criticized by the people with money because they understand at a certain point, Bitcoin is going to account and tell on a lot of the quintillionaires. It's already telling on people. We already understand that the monetary, I don't even know if the data for M1, M2 supply is accurate. Right? Just like they would manipulate the millions of jobs and this and that and the third, there's no telling what other data they're manipulating. They're constantly printing. They do understand that this money must be accounted for, but they understand it's in such large numbers that the money will be accounted for future generations. They're basically saying, we don't care about your kids because our kids are taken care of. Y'all deal with it when the time comes to deal with it. Bitcoin's telling a different story, which is why your Jamie Dimons and what's the dude's name? Y'all call him Shit from Brains?
No, Peter Schiff. I don't know if it's coming around.
And other wealthy people are so against Bitcoin because Bitcoin has that accounting feature, right? It is very transparent. You can see movement. You can see the movement of the wallets. Everything is accounted for. Now, here's a concept that is very important. Again, I am likely not talking to our audience, but it is something you can take back to your children, your nieces, your nephews, whoever you have that you have an influence over. Time also accounts. I'm going to say that one more time. Time also accounts. Every moment that you are not productive, every moment that you are idle, every moment you spend scrolling, every moment you spend doing something that does not provide a productivity to your life, that may provide a destruction to your life. Like if you have some destructive vices or something like that, that time is accounted for.
It is accounted for, yes.
Every moment you are productive, every moment you spend time taking care of some aspect of your life portfolio, that time is also accounted for. And what happens is you begin to see the results of that accounting between 30 and 40 years old. You begin to see it. At 30 and 40 years old, when you start to reflect on your life or even kind of reflect on the life of somebody else that you know, and you kind of see, like I say, the proof's in the pudding, the decisions, every decision that they made, you're now able to see the results of that accounting. And by 40 to 50, that time is accounted for in such a solid manner that it's fully materialized. And it's hard to turn around and it's hard to turn back when the time wasn't properly.
And so this is why you used to see, and it probably still happens,
utilized.
You would see people go through a midlife crisis, because what happens is you get to midlife and you do what she says and you look at the time spent and you look back and you're kind of like, and people, and it happens, man. People have divorces, they go bankrupt, all this stuff, and you look at all the time spent either building something, and then you're like, dang. And you have midlife crisis sometimes.
And a lot of people say, like, why is this happening to me?
Right,
why is all of these things happening? Yeah. And it's because just like they don't have the accounting, and many people don't have accounting for their money. So I know this concept is like wild, right? Because we don't have that structuring growing up and understanding how money is to be accounted for, credit, interest, debits, right? Because we don't have those foundations, there's so much that could be either avoided or so much that could have been nurtured and blossomed had we had that understanding from young, that every single moment of your life will be accounted for. Productive or non-productive, it will absolutely be accounted for. And you begin to see the accounting between 30 and 40 years old, and that accounting is fully materialized between 40 and 50 years old.
And so
a lot of our audience is between those ages. The younger you are, the better statistics work in your favor to kind of turn that huge ship around.
I think our internet might have buffered. Sorry. Oh. You guys let us know if it buffered or a little lag.
It said reconnected.
It said hold on. So I guess it didn't all the way disconnect.
Okay. And I'm going to keep it short, but it is a productivity aspect that you should reflect on. And if you have younger people in your custody, whether they're your children, whether your nieces, your nephews, your godchildren, children at school, if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, that is definitely a concept you want to sit down and talk to them about. Yeah. Every decision you make, every moment of your life will be accounted for. So it's why we talk about mastery, because mastery requires so many hours of discipline and commitment, right? That don't matter what you picked, in order to master, it's going to be accounted for, and it can only result in some type of significant beneficial outcome.
And remember, the number tossed around for mastery is 10,000 hours.
But that is just the threshold of mastery.
There we go. I'm glad
right?
you said that.
Now, does that mean if you spend 10,000 hours doing Kung Fu, you would be able to be Bruce Lee in a fight? No. That is just the threshold of mastery. It is kind of like you graduated from grad school, right? You graduated from grad school as an attorney. Are you Johnny Cochran? No, you're not. All you did was graduate.
Yeah, so now you, at that point, as she's saying, you got to master.
Now you got to master.
Master your craft, as they say.
You got to actually master it. You just like graduated into having the breadth and depth of this thing. But now you have to spend time within that craft in order to truly, and become that master, in order to, there's a word that I want to use and it escapes me.
And so, and another thing I'll say to people as well, mastery, a lot of people get caught up in mastery and getting certificates and certifications from the state, credentials. You don't always need to be credentialized by the powers that be to have mastery in something, right? So
And
don't let that wear you down.
And a lot of people who do have the credentials have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, that's an odd thing. You like, oh, that's weird. But and how does this? I'll try to tie it back to Bitcoin. One of the things we've talked about for many shows in regards to time is that Bitcoin was the way that you could lock away your energy,
your economic
energy,
and labor that you've traded for your time
across space and time, right? Mm-hmm. And so, what does that mean? That just means you can unlock it at a later date. And as you see, Bitcoin is consistently that, right? If you locked it in at 6,000 and you unlocked it at 60, right? You got 10x on your economic energy. And had you just kept that in the US dollar, what would you have got on your economic energy?
Right.
But the dollar losing value. So she's right. Time. I'm talking about economics. She's talking about life portfolio. Time reflects in everything you do, whether and very simple, you see somebody go to the gym for 6 months and you see it. You see like, oh man, you lost weight, you look good, you got some little, some toning up and everything.
And if you see somebody let go of themselves for 6 months, boy, that's a hard train to kind of pull back. Things happen to people. They fall into depression. 6 months goes by and it's...
So time, man, just time is everything. Even the time that you pour, for example, building a family, the time that you may pour into your children. Over time, you're like, wow, this is...
Every idle moment of neglect and then every moment of productivity. I'm not talking about, the moms who smother their kids or the moms who... I'm not talking about that, right? But every moment you spend in conscientious parenting also will reflect and result, right? You'll see that materialize.
Yeah, I see a perfect example for my wife is because she has the number. I don't have the number off the top of my head. There's a crazy amount of time that they project you will spend scrolling in your lifetime. 20 years?
On average, the average person will spend 20 years scrolling.
And so
whether it's, it don't matter what your platform is, but just going like this.
Whether you reading something productive, constructive, or you just entertaining yourself.
And the psychologists, well, here's a funny thing, right? I read that 2 of them shot themselves in the back, but
there we go.
They're trying to get the awareness out, right? Because we also understand the other agendas and getting people to scroll. They want you to take your time back. They want you to have a bit more control and discipline in your choices. They're psychologists. They want to kind of reset your mindset versus that herd mentality in the way society wants you to kind of think. Everybody's on social media, and if you're not on social media, you're going to be missing what's going on. How would you know what's going on?
Yeah.
Don't you want to stay in touch with friends and family you haven't seen for years? All of that propaganda. But I also brought it up for another very important reason, right? We just read that the Fed, Jerome Powell, says it's time to do what with the monetary policy? Like tighten down, right?
Yeah.
And reduce rates. In any part of his speech, y'all look his speech up. I want y'all to tell me where he said in tightening our monetary policy, we need to show some type of fiscal discipline and start accounting for all of the dollars we keep printing and spending. And a lot of the dollars that we print and spend, trillions and trillions of dollars. The government would like you to think that there is a full accounting of every dollar out of the trillion of dollars that they print every quarter.
So every 90 days, is that a quarter?
It's less than a quarter.
Yeah.
And a quarter is 120 days.
Yeah.
So with that being said, right, how much of it is really being accounted for? How much of 1 trillion, because I know it's more than a trillion that they print every 90 days. If we had $1 trillion, and that's one with the T, how much money can get given away or allocated that nobody documented?
Yeah, and unfortunately, that money goes into people's pockets a lot of times.
Right? Undocumented. We don't know where it went. I've seen Congress talking to people, asking people, where did this go? Where did that go? Where did that? And they're like, we have to get back to you. We have to get back. We don't know where the money went. But my point being is that just like every dollar, and we're answering for the dollars that are unaccounted for. Unfortunately, we did not get to spend those dollars irresponsibly, right? Because that would be a lecture in itself. We didn't. They did.
A little helicopter money.
Right? They spent a little helicopter money, but there was a lot of money given to other countries who do not pay into the tax system, but we keep sending them billions and hundreds of billions of dollars at that. Multiple countries that we keep sending hundreds of billions of dollars. We are the ones who are having to. What are you doing, babe?
Oh, nothing. Just double checking everything. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
You're just messing with stuff, though.
I know. I'm just double checking everything, making sure you're okay. So you could have just kept going.
I mean, I know, but why did you put it on the screen?
Because sometimes that pops up. Sometimes it pops up and makes.
Oh.
I didn't know. We lost connection. I just want to make sure everything's all right.
Okay.
See, there we go. See what I did?
But see what I did?
See what I did? See, I
wanted to mention it because we are accounting for all of that money that they're constantly spending. Peter is stealing to pay Paul, and then Joe, the bag of donuts, is paying for everything.
Yeah, so that's
right. That's us. They were just arguing last week about grocery stores are price gouging and this and that and that and the third. And Lynn Alden had to come out and say, hey, it's not the grocery store price gouging. It is all of the fiat currency that is being, cascading, waterfalling into the monetary supply because we just keep printing and spending and printing and spending, printing and spending. And nowhere in these tightening of monetary policies do you hear them saying, we need to have more fiscal discipline. They talk about fiscal responsibility. Y'all need to get some discipline on your asses. Y'all are just giving the money away because really it is just paper. And the more you give it away, the more you are putting it on the people. It's an election year, right? How many of you voting for whoever you're voting for has asked that candidate, did you deserve my vote? Because you are going to do something about this effed up monetary supply that's causing us to have mortgage note size grocery bills. I remember when a car note was $300. I'm not that old. Car notes are now 3 times that for a decent car.
When I was in high school, man, you go up to the car lot. You can get a car. They would give you a car note for $99. This is the 90s. I'm showing my age.
But we're not that old that's ridiculous.
Yeah, $99. And you weren't getting a fly whip, but you could get a car note for $99. Now, I've heard the average car note is close to $800. Some people say it's high as $1,300.
Yeah.
I don't know what the true number
is.
They said
the average car note, and I read that recently, is like $1,300 to $1,500. Well, that's the car note. That's not with insurance. I'm sure there's a new car though. It's not insurance. You got to keep in mind when they're averaging that out, what does the average credit score look like? What is the average rate of interest that these people are getting across the board in order to purchase this vehicle with the car notes that high?
And once you go into that, you also go into the median home price, which is really, really high.
It's overvalued. Apartments, right? There's no reason an efficiency should be almost $2,000 a month. That used to be a mortgage payment.
Uh-oh.
Is that my mom?
Nah, it's my son. Hold on. I'll step aside.
Oh, Sean's ready for work. No payments. That's my car motto. Jake, you stay trolling.
What did he say?
He said no payments is his car motto.
Yeah,
you make some great points, but most people just don't care. They don't care, but they end up paying the price, and it's a very steep and heavy price to pay. If we can teach our children from young that they should account for their moments. So does that mean be a nerd? No.
Wait, are you okay?
Yes, I just have a class at 7. I don't know.
He needs a computer. He wants to make it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm shutting down right now, and and I'm walking out the door.
Okay,
It sounded
Dad's
like
going
he
to
was
do
in
dad
distress,
duties,
okay?
y'all. We got to go get Sean because he's got his client at 8 and he needs the computer. But, you know, if we could teach our sons, if we can teach our daughters too, right? I always talk about sons because I'm boy mom, sorry. But if we can teach our sons and daughters from young the accounting of time, the accounting of your money, right? I know back in the day when they were trying to teach us those infrastructures, we used to be called nerds. I was a nerd. That's what they used to call me. You sound like a white girl when you talk. You read all the time. You're a nerd. Cool, right? But as life is beginning to reflect for me, I'm seeing the accounting of the time that I spent and the things that I spent time on and building. And I'm not like patting myself on the back or anything. I'm just saying I take nation building very, very seriously. And if there's a bit of help or recommendation or suggestions, I would offer these people who are serious about nation building. Cousin Jake is very serious about nation building.
Yeah, family.
Shout out to our little Bitcoin baby. I know she's getting big, and her sisters who take good care of her. You know, these are things we need to instill in our children. And it's also one of the reasons why our counterparty community tends to get a little bit ahead of us. Now, granted, they've had a huge head start, but in that head start, they have been taught those things. They've been instructed those things to the point where their children are born into that collective consciousness because that is the normal behavior in that community.
And that said, for our Bitcoiners, Bitcoin gives you a chance to equalize that,
Yes.
right? With all the money printing, but you got a finite, you got a finite amount of a scarce resource in
Yes.
Bitcoin. It's leveling the playing field, even if it doesn't seem level, but it's leveling out for people who came in the Bitcoin space early. It's leveled out for them.
And it's not necessary for you to spend all of this time doing all of this research, listening to all of these podcasts, all of these platforms to build up your Bitcoin coffer, is what I like to call it, or whatever your wealth coffer looks like, to squander it once you get it to where you want to get it. It doesn't make any sense. And believe it or not, far too often, that's exactly what happens.
And if you did that and squandered it, then you just
That's
wasted all the
exactly
time
what
that she's
happens.
talking about.
And that time is accounted for and it's gone. It's lost. So I just wanted to kind of sign off with that, especially where the feds, right? They're really, again, the manipulation. I'm going to tell y'all something. For those of y'all who believe in the supernatural, who don't believe in the supernatural or whatever it is you got going on, manipulation and deceit, what the elites do to us is witchcraft. If you are manipulating someone's point of view in order to bend them to your will, that is the definition of witchcraft. You are using some way, shape, or power to deceive them and manipulate them to bend them to your will. Even if bending them to your will is just to get them to see things the way you want them to see it. That's witchcraft. And they are performing these spells and these crafts on us every moment of the day. Every moment of the day. So y'all keep that in mind when I tell y'all that. Jerome Powell is propping up the Fed for the election, right? Cousin Jake told y'all in the thing, he's like, yo, they're manipulating the jobs data. You know good and well people are struggling to get employment, but employment outlook looks great. For
That's
who?
what they keep telling us.
For who?
That's what I be looking like.
Right? Because when I go into Google and I look at this month's layoffs, where the people who got laid off, that should mean that they should get a job relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
we are hiring at our job. We're talking to candidates who are telling you they haven't worked in over a year. Tech. I work for a tech company. You have 1,200 people applying for one position. How many candidates can you talk to? And the amount of candidates you are talking to are telling you, a lot of them are telling you they haven't worked from months to over a year.
And in my experience, in my close experience, I've seen that what she said, the 1,200 people for one position, and she's talking about higher positions. She's talking about director level, C-suite type of stuff.
And even I'm going to say senior manager level, right?
Okay.
Not mid-management, but a bit higher than that.
So
these are qualified people. They're skilled.
The job is already given away. the person already has in mind.
that.
The hiring person has in mind who they're going to hire.
That's a whole nother show for a whole nother day.
So you got to,
But it goes into the data that Cousin Jake was trying to share earlier as well, right? So you have all these things working against you. And this is why when you look at your life portfolio, you have to add these little tidbits to it.
Yeah,
just like gold accounted for every dollar, my decisions are going to account for every moment of my time.
Yeah, so we got to get out of here. I'm sorry, we got to cut this short, you guys, but it was good information. We got some good game out there. I hope you guys appreciate it. I want to get out of here with two last things about time, so that we can go ahead.
Like your son's waiting for you time because he got to get on his billable time.
I know. I mean, he's putting me close. Aaron said, I want you guys to remember one last thing. The Fed and the government is a slow moving machine. So you got time to be agile and move around and position yourself.
Which is good.
2, I want you guys, as a bit of homework, if you don't already do this, I want you to go to usdebtclock.org.
I'm going to put it.
One of our favorite websites, it'll make your head spin. And you can go ahead and go over all. And so what it really gives you is dollar, and it gives you dollar value. And what we're looking at here is, I just want you to see what our precious metals, people we didn't get to you. Silver, gold, dollar to silver ratio, $456 per ounce per the US debt clock. So
gold should be $456 per ounce.
Silver, yes.
Silver should be
gold should be $3,300 per day. So look at the debt clock. You can see medium income, medium house price. You can see all kind of stuff. And then at the top, look at this. You can't even keep up with how much money is being printed. It's crazy. You can't even count that fast.
You can't. So, the machine can barely do it.
Yeah,
and it's a quantum computer.
If you want to have some fun, look at usdebtclock.org. It'll make your head spin when you see some of these numbers.
But just keep that in mind. And, if you're younger, it's never too late for anybody, but, a canoe is easier to turn around, right, than a cruise ship. So you got to keep those things in mind, right? If you're young enough, you say, and that's another reason why they took it off the standard too, because people used to equate time to money. People don't do it as much now.
Yeah.
Right? You got flexible jobs and they're not really putting the two together. That era had the collective consciousness to put the gold with the time. That's where we got time is money.
Yeah.
Right? So they understood, they were a little bit more disciplined. That's why, things were a little bit different. That's why your great-great-great-great-granddad and your great-great-great-great-grandmama were more serious than you are today.
Yeah, that's why people,
serious than we are
That's why
today.
people who not serious live in their grandma's house. Because their grandma got a house.
Yeah, because their grandma has a house. That's true. That's true. But just buy Bitcoin and hold. However, it's like I said, let freedom ring. A lot of people think it's just invest in something that's going to pop and you good. And it's like, no, you're not, because you don't have the mindset. Your wealth is here first before it ever gets here.
Yeah.
You can do all of that. And if you're not doing the proper means and methods, the money is going to get squandered. You've never had that type of money before. You have more money than the average person. You really do have to get your life portfolio managed just like you would manage your financial portfolio. You got to stay on top of it.
So guys, we're going to get out of here. We got to keep it tight. Like I said, because of our schedule, it keep us flexible. We're probably going to try to start doing more shows on the weekend because we got a little bit more free time, but sometimes not. It gets tight. We're 2 hours behind.
And we are still in the recuperating stage, y'all. We're still recovering. We're still getting
healthy.
Yeah.
He's
out here like he's at 100%.
100%.
Right? Poco on poco.
Yeah. So,
but we love y'all.
Yeah, we do love you guys.
Hopefully see you Wednesday.
Be on the lookout for us Wednesday. Don't hold us to it though, okay?
Yeah.